This review is in association with Red Ribbon Reviewers, a site that gives love and support for AIDS. Reviewers, including yours truly and plenty of other reviewers / content creators, also giving their love and support for AIDS. And this year we are supporting Doctors Without Borders. Check out their website and donate money to them. Your support will be greatly appreciated. Hello, Merry Christmas, one and all. I'm your host with the mustache, Henry R. Mockingbird here, and let's talk about unconventional Christmas movies, shall we? Unconventional Christmas movies. Christmas movies that honestly shouldn't really feel like or be Christmas movies, but in one way or another give us that sense of holiday Yuletide cheer. Movies such as Violent Night, Black Christmas, and Batman Returns, and for some odd reason, there are discussions that Nosferatu should count as a Christmas movie. No, I'm not joking about that. But years before, we had John McClane taking down terrorists on Christmas Eve, or Billy Bob Thornton as Bad Santa. We had films like The Thin Man, a murder mystery that takes place around Christmas, and Christmas Eve, a Christmas gangster film. And there's another Christmas gangster film called Larceny, Inc. And that is the subject for our final review of 2025. Well, enough stalling. Let us get to the actual review. This is Larceny, Inc. Three former con men end up buying a luggage store in the hopes to dig a tunnel into the bank next door before Christmas and rob the loot, only for them to end up getting more than they bargained for by getting customers and having to deal with them 24/7, and they end up becoming local heroes in their own little way. So, what are my thoughts on Larceny, Inc.? Well, I like it. The film was directed by Lloyd Bacon, who directed other films like 42nd Street, Footlight Parade, and The Oklahoma Kid. And this film itself was based on a Broadway play, which itself was written by S.J. Perelman, who also wrote the scripts for Marx Brothers films Monkey Business and Horse Feathers. If you've seen those films, you definitely feel his sense of comedic writing from those movies. And stamped and pressed right on to this movie. Like the character of Jug crossing the street and intentionally getting himself run over. It's such a dark and macabre joke that I can't help but find it hilarious. And also other jokes that feel like they would have belonged either in the Marx Brothers or Three Stooges, like Jug cracking open a water pipe when digging into the bank, and the water coming out like a fountain while Weepy tries to help him out. I mean, literally gushing out like a fountain. Or seeing Preston, played by Edward G. Robinson, trying to gift wrap a luggage bag and failing quite spectacularly at it. Seriously, how hard is it to gift wrap a luggage bag? Or seeing Jackie Gleason in a very small role as a soda jerk at a malt shop. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, look it up. What a soda jerk is, that is. And this was Jackie Gleason before Honeymooners and before Smokey and the Bandit. And he's giving off those Jackie Gleason isms years before he became famous. Like, he's barely given any dialogue, but just the looks he gives are funny as hell. Like, he's only given 2 scenes in this film, and you could already tell why this guy became so famous. Or more visual gags, like Weepy hiding a drill underneath a Christmas tree. There's even a scene where they break into an oil pipe and they think they struck it rich. And before you could even say the words Beverly Hillbillies, Black Gold, Texas Tea, it turns out it's not even real oil and it just came from the pipes. Big shocker, I know. This film surprisingly also has a lot of great editing from something you wouldn't expect from a comedy. Like during a montage where Preston's store is at an all-time high in sales, the editing feels like something you would see in a David Lynch movie. May he rest in peace. Or, let's say, a movie like Citizen Kane. Let's start talking about the characters, starting with the main character, Pressured Maxwell, who I'm just going to call Mr. Maxwell for the rest of this review, given how the movie practically calls him that. Mr. Maxwell, despite him being an ex-criminal, really wants to turn a new leaf. Only one major problem with that. He can't because being a gangster/criminal is practically all he knows. And you feel kind of sympathy for him. as you really want to see him change for the better. And this is a subversion for the actor who plays him, Edward G. Robinson, as he would normally be playing gangsters who would normally be the opposite of Mr. Maxwell, like Little Caesar, not to be confused with the pizza. He's usually known for playing a hard-boiled, no-nonsense gangster who uses the word see and has been caricatured quite a lot of times in many cartoons. If you're a Looney Tunes fan, you might be familiar with this clip.
Well, we got rid of those mugs.
They make me laugh. Rocky, the money, Rocky.
Oh, yeah.
And here's another edition of HM Pointless Fun Facts. At some point, he was originally set to play Dr. Zaius in the OG Planet of the Apes. This has been another edition of HM Pointless Fun Facts. Okay, back on topic. And all the scenes with Mr. Maxwell and his flunkies selling stuff at the luggage store and being called crooks for jacking up the price can literally be seen as an unintentional commentary on how crooked a lot of businesses and companies tend to be with their products. That is rarely seen in movies. In fact, Mr. Maxwell becomes such a good businessman that, without giving any spoilers, towards the end he ends up becoming a hero. I forgot to mention that Mr. Maxwell also has a pretty funny as hell scene outside of that gift wrapping scene. It all starts when his flunky / best friend, Jug Martin, goes dressed up as Santa Claus, waiting for the owner to come back to buy the luggage shop. And as a distraction, he starts messing with people and gets his halls decked by a random stranger. And I mean really get his halls decked as he gets slugged right in the face, which causes Mr. Maxwell to dress up as Santa Claus while smoking a cigar. And the visual of Edward G. Robinson dressed up as Santa Claus smoking a cigar is so funny that it ends up putting a big old grin on my face. Talk about his best friend, Jug Martin. And man, what a perfect name for him, because he is literally a jughead, or should I say musclehead, as he ends up doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the team. But unfortunately, he's as dumb as a box of rocks, and he uses every muscle he has except the one that matters. You know, the one in his head. And then there's his other flunky, Weepy, who turns out to be a lot smarter than Jug, as he ends up coming with a lot of the plans to help rob into the bank. But he's also kind of dumb at the same time, but not nearly as dumb as Jug. He's played by actor Edward Brophy, who some of you might recognize as the Hangman from Mad Love. He also played a cop in It happened on Fifth Avenue, a Christmas film I reviewed last year, and Timothy the Mouse from Dumbo. And also, there's Maxwell's daughter, Denny. And I don't have much to say on her, other than she's played by actress Jane Wyman, who happened to be married to Ronald Reagan. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Ronald Reagan, I'll just let this clip from Back to the Future and Doc Brown just say it for me.
Then tell me, future boy, who's president of the United States in 1985?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
There's also the character of Jeff, who's a smooth-talking, wise guy of a salesman, played by Jackie Carson, who is in Arsenic and Old Lace and Dangerous When Wet, starring Esther Williams, and also had an appearance with Tom and Jerry. And as I stated before, he's more often than not trying to sell stuff to the boys, particularly luggage. And looking at this guy, he kind of reminds me of Sal, with his trench coat and everything. Oh, that reminds me. Sal is on Christmas vacation, going to see his gangster buddies in, what else, New Jersey, and he's having a Christmas party. So let's see how he's doing. I'm going to use my old, let's say, Atari controller to put him on the TV. Hey, Toots doll, why don't you go inside and give me something to drink, okay? How about a little eggnog? Hey, Sal, Merry Christmas. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Merry Christmas to you too, boss.
Well, that's nice to hear. Okay, Oh, wait a minute. Little Caesar's Pizzas. You gotta answer it.
Can I have your pizza?
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
Well, what about the money?
What money is you talking about?
Well, you have to pay for your pizza, sir.
Oh, is that a fact? How much does we owe you for the pizza pie?
That'll be $11.80.
And keeps the change, you filthy animal.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Cheapskate.
You wanna play it? You wanna play hard to get?
Alrighty. I'm gonna give yous to the count of 10 to get you ugly.
This off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
Ones, twos, and tens.
Well, that's nice to hear. There's also the villain of the whole picture, Leo Dexter, played by Anthony Quinn, the only character in the movie who Mr. Maxwell and his gangsters are absolutely terrified of. He is so intimidating, he somehow manages to scare the pants off of Edward G. Robinson. And this is a guy who would normally be playing a character like the one Anthony Quinn is playing, and he somehow manages to scare him. Only problem with Maxwell as a villain is that I feel like he should have been more in the movie. Like, he only appears at the beginning of the film, and he doesn't really get mentioned until the 1 hour and 10 minute mark. and doesn't become a threat for our heroes until the 1 hour and 14-minute mark. Shame that he's not in the movie all that much, because I feel like this guy should have been more of a looming threat for Maxwell and his buddies. If you want a little spice in your eggnog this Christmas, I recommend you check out Larceny Inc. 5 gold stars. Can you tell the folks here at home what kind of Christmas they should have and what they are?
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Happy New Year!